It is 8 p.m. and here are the top stories we're following. Denver public schools at risk of consolidating or closing down.
When you close down a school, you leave a wound.
Latino parents speaking out, saying they're being left out of the conversation.
The dollars don't drive the decisions, the kids drive the decision.
Chaos erupting on a Brooklyn subway train after a masked shooter deploys smoke and opens fire on people inside.
They were obviously terrified, running down to by streets, shouting for help.
Tonight, the manhunt continues as New York police identify a person of interest.
Ukraine bracing for Russia's looming assault on the eastern part of the country.
It has become clearer and clearer that Putin is just trying to wipe out the idea of even being able to be a Ukrainian.
But for those fighting on the front lines, giving up isn't an option.
I know a lot of food and medicine, and we take it in our cars and come to Chernihiv.
Good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm JACLYN Allen.
I'm Danny New. There may be changes coming for some Denver public schools.
The district says declining enrollment means some schools could have to consolidate or even shut down. Now, the district insists that they are taking a community-led approach, but parents who gathered today feel otherwise.
Denver 7's CB Cotton joins us now. CB, what are these concerned parents demanding?
JACLYN and Danny, parents stood outside of an elementary school today to say they feel shut out, and now they're demanding Denver public schools find more ways to engage the community when it comes to deciding which schools could potentially close or be consolidated. But right now, Denver Public Schools is using an advisory committee to inform these future decisions. The committee has just over 30 members and is made up of teachers, parents, and district staff. This committee was formed by DPS Superintendent Dr. Alex Morero in January of this year. The district says the committee has representation from neighborhoods that are most impacted by declining enrollment. But parents gathered on Tuesday afternoon feel differently. The community group Mamas de DPS Peleando por las Escuelas Públicas, which means DPS moms fighting for public schools, says they fear schools most at risk for closure are ones with mostly Latino students. And these moms say Latinos have been left out of the conversation.
When you close down a school, you leave a wound in a community. You leave wound for businesses, you leave wound for those children and those families who are all now scrambling to find other alternative sources of education. Can you work with us? Can you sit down and work with us and figure out what we can do better?
And coming up on Denver 7 News at 10, we'll hear more from this group, but we'll also take a closer look at why DPS and other districts across the state are faced with declining enrollment numbers. For Denver 7 News on Local 3, I'm CB Cotton.
Thank you, CB. And meanwhile, at the State House tonight, a committee is debating a new bill aimed at holding fentanyl dealers accountable. The bill includes tougher penalties for convicted dealers and raises possession of 4 grams of the drug to a felony. Reaction to the bill has been mixed. On one end, you have critics like law enforcement who believe the bill actually doesn't go far enough. And then meanwhile, you have groups like the ACLU who believe the bill will mean more people in jail and thus add to the cycle of incarceration.
Chiefs, sheriffs, and Fraternal Order of Police members stand firm in our call for a strong zero-tolerance policy against the possession of this poison.
We don't want to see these casual users charged with a felony. Our heart is really for them to get help, to get off their addiction. It's not to put them behind bars for some bad choices.
The committee is still debating the bill tonight, and regardless of whether it moves forward, supporters of the bill say that some version of it has to pass. A recent report from the Common Sense Institute says that fentanyl deaths in Colorado during 2021 were up 260% from 2019.
A large grass fire is currently burning in southern Colorado. Take a look. These are pictures sent into Denver 7 by viewers in Bent County. This fire is burning near Fort Lyon, which is just about 2 hours southeast of Colorado Springs. We are still working to learn about whether any homes are threatened and exactly how big this fire is.
Your family budget, your ability to fill up your tank, none of it should hinge on whether a dictator declares war and commits genocide in half a world away.
Today, President Biden referred to Russia's war on Ukraine as a genocide, as you just heard. and again blamed Russian President Vladimir Putin for the price hikes on gasoline here in the U.S. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said yesterday that more than 10,000 civilians have now been killed in the city of Mariupol since Russia's invasion began. Also today, President Zelensky again appealed to the U.S. for more weapons as Russian troops move into eastern parts of the country now. And as of now, more than 4.5 million people have fled Ukraine since this all started.
And the powerful and tragic images coming out of Ukraine are showing the entire world the devastation of the war there.
And they're inspiring activists here in Colorado to help the fight.
Denver 7's Rob Harris has the story of an international friendship sharing images and support. Rob?
Yeah, and I mean, I think we could just see those videos and pictures, and that shows the power this conflict has had. Andrew Lennick lives here in the Denver area, but he has Ukrainian heritage, and he spent several years there with the Peace Corps. He held classes to teach Ukrainians English, including Denis. Now, this picture shows Denis with Lennick learning English when he was only 15 years old. And you can see them in the classroom right there. But look at this picture. It shows Denis at age 20 next to a spent Russian rocket. Denis is now risking his own life to drive throughout his country, delivering food and medical supplies that have come in from other countries.
In connection now is our power, and a lot of people, and I just sit and thinking how can I help for military, for medicine, for just people.
And I was just so happy to see that he was alive. And then when he told me what he was doing and he sent me the first couple of pictures, I was like, wow, dude, you are a hero. You are a hero.
Now, as Denis treks across his country delivering the supplies, activists in Colorado are raising money to buy more food and equipment to help the people in Ukraine. Tonight at 10 o'clock on Denver 7, we got our full story on this young Ukrainian man and his American friends helping him in the fight. JACLYN.
What a cool story. Thanks so much, Rob. Shows how we are all connected. Well, tonight, an active manhunt in New York City after police say a shooter donning a gas mask fired at least 33 bullets in a rush hour subway train. At least 10 people were shot this morning. Now, none of those injuries appears to be life-threatening.
I saw a lot of people coming out of the train station. One of them was injured. I believe it was a lady getting shot right on her leg. She was screaming, she was in a lot of pain.
Police have tracked down the renter of a van possibly connected to the violence. Police identified the renter as 62-year-old Frank R. James as a person of interest. Investigators also found a handgun inside the subway station with 3 extended round magazines. Now, one of those was actually jammed, and they say that gun jamming likely saved a lot of lives. Now, right now, we don't have any word yet on a motive. Police say the incident does not appear to be terror-related, but they are not ruling anything out just yet.
And in response to the shooting, Denver police and RTD have stepped up patrols at local transit stations today. RTD told its officers to be on, quote, high alert. They're also reminding all passengers that you see something, you report to operators and police if you ever see anything suspicious on trains or buses. And of course, you can always make an anonymous report through the RTD app.
Tomorrow, the city of Denver will consider banning concealed carry in parks and public spaces. The city attorney will propose a measure that would restrict concealed carry licenses in any building or area owned by the city. Now, if it is approved by City Council, it could take effect as early as next month.
Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse has unveiled a legislative package that focuses on safety in the workplace. This, of course, comes 1 year after 10 people were killed inside of Boulder King Soopers. The bills would expand worker safety, increase mental health and trauma support, as well as add preventative security measures to workplaces.
Now, I want to be clear. These steps are not mutually exclusive to the need to ultimately address gun violence in our communities. And I'll continue each and every day that I have the honor of representing our community in Washington to push for common sense gun violence prevention measures.
Neguse says this is just the start of the conversation in trying to end mass shootings. We have a description of all 4 bills in the package for you on thedenverchannel.com.
Ready to sacrifice himself for others, an Adams County Sheriff's deputy allowed a wrong-way driver to hit his SUV to prevent that driver from hitting others on I-70.
Yeah, this happened around 11 last night and just south of Byers. And as you can see from the pictures, you can understand how much of a hero this officer is. And I know they look bad, but neither the deputy, the wrong-way driver, or anyone else on the interstate suffered major injuries. That deputy was taken to the hospital as a precaution, but is now recovering at home.
Coming up on Denver 7 News at 8, Colorado students want to celebrate their differences.
When kids are exposed to differences at a young age, it helps them understand and develop more empathy.
But state education leaders say it's a conversation best had later.
Leaving these kinds of discussions of sex out of classrooms does not inflame the divisions.
Weather advisories and warnings continue for the mountains tonight. I'll let you know if Denver's going to see any snow.
Plus, guess who's coming to dinner?
He's darling.
Meet the Denver couple serving up all sorts of snacks for squirrels next.